Hi and welcome to today's vlog. Today I am talking you through some books that I bought recently. So recently I had my birthday and I haven't bought any books for ages, so I decided to treat myself to some of the books on my wish list. I set myself a spending limit and I only bought books that cost less than £7, and I managed to get loads of books, so I'm really excited and I'm gonna share what I got with you today. Oh, I went a bit high pitched then. So first up is The Desolations of Devil's Acre. This is a Ransom Riggs book and it is part of the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children. It is the 6th book in the series. I have all of the others. I think I've read 3, the first 3. I can't remember if I've read the 4th one. I definitely haven't read the 5th. But I saw this, it was on a super bargain price, so I decided to pick it up. It's been on my wish list for a little while, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. But I think what I'm going to do is read all of the series again from the beginning first, just to sort of refresh my memory a little bit. But yeah, I think this book, I'm just checking, this book is the conclusion to the rest of the stories. So yeah, I've got high hopes for this. It's the 6th novel of Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children's books, and this one is called The Desolation of Devil's Acre, and it's by Ransom Riggs. So next up is a non-fiction book. Now I love a non-fiction book, especially if they're sort of history related, sort of specifically social history or medically. Yeah, I love books like that. So this again has been on my wish list for ages. It is called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs. It is by Caitlin Doherty. My apologies if I am saying that wrong. And yeah, so basically, will my cat eat my eyeballs and other questions about dead bodies. So the author of this book is a funeral director, and here in this book she is answering 35 of the most interesting questions that she's ever been asked by loved ones using her funeral home. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this because who doesn't want to know if your cat will eat your eyeballs? Yeah, again, this was so cheap. It has a recommended retail price of like £9, but I paid £2 something for it. So yeah, I had to have it. So I'm very excited to read this book. So next up are the next 2 books in a series of books that I have been reading, and they are by Oscar de Muriel, and they're basically a series of books about 2 police inspectors. They're set sort of in the late 1800s, and they're crime novels. So basically they're police officers and they're solving a crime, but they work in a special sort of supernatural department in Glasgow, no, in Edinburgh. So yeah, they're about Inspectors McGray and Frey. Inspector Frey is sort of your typical stuffy posh Englishman, and McGray is your gruff, uncouth Scottish inspector who believes in supernatural. So 2 very different characters solving crimes together. They've got very much a love-hate relationship that is like 95% hate. I've really enjoyed reading them actually. I've read the first 4 recently, and they're a good sort of crime novel with a hint of like gothic Victorian to them. I will say though that the main character, so Inspector Frey, who predominantly the books are written from his point of view, he's an intensely dislikable character, so you kind of need to get over that to enjoy the books, because he really is dislikable, unlikable. He's just not a very pleasant character, but I think that adds to the charm of the books, and you can sort of see him growing through the stories, which is quite good. So I can see sort of why in the first book he was so, I hated him so much, and I have hated him less as the books have gone on, and I think his character has evolved with the stories, and that's been interesting to read. But yeah, if you're looking for sort of a Victorian gothic-y crime novel with a hint of the supernatural to them, I would highly recommend the Oscar de Muriel books. So the next two in this set are The Darker Arts, which is one that I picked up, and The Dance of the Serpents, which is the next one I picked up. I think Dance of the Serpents is the most recent one, published in 2020. I don't know yet if there is another one in the series. I think there will be, but we'll see. But yeah, so I picked up these two to complete my collection. I'm really looking forward to reading these because I'm enjoying seeing where the story is ultimately going. So next up is a classic and a staple of any bookshelf, I would say. I used to have a copy of this back years ago when I lived at home. I've got no idea what happened to that copy or where it is. Neil is pretty convinced that I will find it on the bookshelf somewhere and that I already own it, but I don't think I do. So I bought another copy. It was £2.69. So yeah, I had to pick it up, and this is George Orwell 1984. And like I said, I have read this book a couple of times when I was younger. I'm really looking forward to reading it again because I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, I am really excited that I picked this up. Next up is a bit of a jokey book, and this is Inside Dunder Mifflin. And this is an unofficial fan guide, The Ultimate Fan's Guide to The Office by Amy Lewis. I love The Office. I'm very much looking forward to watching it all again from the beginning soon. So yeah, this is sort of a companion book to the series. It says, take the What's Your Management Style quiz to figure out if you're a Michael Scott, a Robert California or an Andy Bernard. Who would win in a romance battle between Jim and Pam and Phyllis and Bob? Find everything you need to know about crushing your enemies from Dwight Schrute, along with his family's famous beet soup recipe and the history of Schrute Farms, with advice from the accounts team and Meredith's most potent cocktails. Inside Dunder Mifflin contains everything you've ever wanted to know about Scranton's finest paper company. It does say that this book is in no way affiliated with or endorsed by the creators or copyright holders of The Office, so it's an unofficial fan guide. But I love The Office. I love all things The Office. So I'm very excited to read this. It's got like an overview for each season. It has quotes from the series. How to Survive in HR with Toby Flenderson. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun little book to read, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of The Office, so anything like this is right up my street. Next up we have The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. This is a book I have seen recently. I've seen in quite a few places. I've seen people talking about it, so I added it to my wish list because it says it's a splendid gothic thriller, and I do love a gothic thriller. Yeah, it says it's a spine-tingling must-read. So yeah, I think I've got high hopes for this. I'm absolutely judging the book by its cover. I am judging it by the blurb on the back. So I really hope this is going to be good. And again, this book, for a hardback with a recommended retail price of like 15 quid, less than 6 quid I paid for this. Really, yeah, brilliant. So yeah, I'm excited to give this one a read. Like I said, I've seen it in lots of places, so I really hope I'm not disappointed. Next up we have The Thin Place by C.D. Major. Again, this is a book, when I add things to my wish list, this is kind of, Amazon recommends that people who bought this. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. It seems sort of like a mystery, a thriller type book. Yeah, I'm excited to read this. I love sort of mystery thriller type books, especially if they've got like a ghost element to them, if they're suspenseful. I love stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to read The Thin Place. Next up I have The Wall by John Lanchester. This to me seems a little bit post-apocalyptic-y, and I absolutely love stuff like that, sort of dystopian futures. I'm really into that sort of book. We've got the book in the house somewhere. Neil has the book Capital by John Lanchester, and I did watch the TV series a couple of years ago that went with the book, and I enjoyed it, but I've never actually read one of John Lanchester's books. Neil is always trying to get me to read them. But yeah, I really liked the sound of this book. It says it's quoted on the back as being in 1984 for our times. So yeah, dystopian future, post-apocalyptic, brilliant. I'm really excited to read this. The last book I picked up off of my wish list is The Betrayals by Bridget Collins. I have another one of her books called The Binding. This is another hardback. I think it's fairly recently released. Just going to see when it was published. Yeah, 2020 this was published. So like I said, I've got another one of her books. This again has been on my wish list for a little while. This seemed a good opportunity to pick it up. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this is going to be about. It seems to be somebody returns to a place after a violent tragedy. So obviously that is only going to end happily. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. I liked the sound of the blurb on Amazon. It's a really pretty book, and I do judge books by their covers. So yeah, this is The Betrayals by Bridget Collins, and I'm looking forward to reading that as well. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books I picked up, because obviously I don't have enough books. I don't have enough books on my to be read list. I don't have hundreds of books already to read. But yeah, it was really nice to treat myself to some books. All I've wanted to do for the last sort of 18 months was go to Waterstones. And buying books on Amazon isn't the same as going to a bookshop, but I've had no sort of other choice, and I needed a book fix. I really did. Honestly, I'd break an arm to go to Waterstones right now. But hopefully this will tide me over until I can get back to a bookshop. I've got plenty of books here to keep me busy. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, if you enjoyed them, what you thought of them, if you've read anything else by any of the other authors of these books. Let me know, I'd love to hear from you. I've still got tons of books on my wish list. I just wish I had the funds to buy all of the books. I mean, literally all of the books. But sadly I don't, so this will have to do for now. So that's it. Thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be back soon with